morning, Gaurav. Good morning, Sumit.
Hello, sir. Good morning.
All of you. Good morning, all of you. Yeah, Gaurav. How is life?
Life is great. We're excited to host this. This is our first partner webinar, sir. We've never hosted one-on-ones before.
So
Sumit,
first of all, sorry that I couldn't join last day. But somehow being in a, sometimes because all the results are out now, so there was investor call, so we had to attend that.
right, I can imagine. How did it go, if I may ask?
I think it was good enough, and generally in an investor call there are good things to know about, to tell about us, and to know about others also.
Right. Good to hear. I think we are just getting more people as we start joining.
So all of them are from your group company only?
Right, sir. There's us and there is extended people of procurement and sourcing joining us from other companies. Also.
Okay.
And some students also, like we discussed.
Yeah. So what you are looking for today, because we didn't discuss about it, so is it more about the digitization in procurement or something else also?
Yeah, we will start. I think Sumit here will be able to share more insights, but starting with your journey, how you got here, and then a little bit about procurement and sourcing, and then finally a little bit time about Procall. That's how we thought we'd. So first, all about you, then about procurement, and then about us.
Yeah.
If there's a interesting group of people still available.
And how would they? So do you find that there are certain jitters in the, overall economy now in India? Are there any jitters, or you feel that still it's, going slow only?
Sir, looking at the markets, I think it's slow compared to last year. I think there are many reasons for it, but we are looking at more and more capital just coming in. So I think that is, and it's not about capital funding consumption now. It's consumption driving itself as people are growing. So that's what I'm personally excited about. It's not venture capital funded growth anymore. So I wanted to introduce Sumit, sir. I think you've already been in touch. Sumit Buteja is a marketing manager at Procall and is leading all the marketing initiatives. And he was the one who wanted to set these initiatives up. And you're one of the first panel partners who wanted to, who we could get to start with this initiative.
Great, Sumit. Hi, Sumit.
Hi, sir. How are you?
All
Thanks
right.
for joining us.
Same here. Thanks for calling me.
Thank you, sir. We start. Just wait for 1 or 2 minutes to get some more because I got some.
And how about, are we forcing, because there is a lot to do in digitization of means it's one of the areas where everybody is striking on. And everybody's, maybe it's any type of industry. People are looking for digitization for, you can say, information collection.
Yeah.
Now, one is information collection, but is there something happening? We generally talk about data analytics and all, but is there something, good happening in data analytics, so that, because information collection post digitization is not a big challenge. The challenge is to scrutinize that information and take timely decisions.
Absolutely. Data teams are becoming more and more common in companies. I think we are looking at that trend. I think tech companies are at the forefront of looking at data because of the technology teams we've built. And the current industries are just getting started with the analytics of their data. I think there is so much gold to be dug out
Yeah.
on data with these companies, but I think it's a skill gap or technology gap that still hasn't come in with these companies to adopt these sort of platform. But I think next 2-3 years will change everything for these industries. Like data will start pouring out, and the insights that they have never seen before will start running the business calls. Is my take on this. I think the entire fundamental of how businesses run will be dependent on data, as more of this data is getting available due to digitization, which is happening starting now.
Hmm.
Even if you look at procurement only, right? Companies have only adopted RFQs or e-auctions. They are going for the entire suite very soon. And I think that's the way to go. More data around everything in your supply chain will enable every company to take better decisions faster. So I don't see a gap. It's just how fast can companies or industries move to make it happen. I think the people who will move the fastest will make the fastest decisions also.
Yeah. So important is that because of the speed of decision making, which is now very important, and I think that decision making speed, once you take a activity, that's okay, but post activity gaps, means you can say whatever gaps are coming up and whatever immediate actions are required to make it successful. That is where the you can say the selection of winner is decided.
Right.
Now, how far you are being able to say provide the help, means everybody is looking towards that help only. That how the triggers are generated, and you can say that many people are engaged in various companies on this task only to generate or to say trigger or to highlight or to say give a call on that time that the decision now is very important to be taken, and what decision is to be taken also they are pulling out certain options and proposing it. So that is where the speed is required.
Pretty much. Sumit, over to you.
Okay, thank you. So welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today's webinar. My name is Sumit Bhateja, facilitator of this webinar. Today we are going to discuss the collaboration of procurement and IT to drive the continuous innovation with our guest speaker, Mr. Saurabh Palsania, who is a young and dynamic executive director of one of the India's leading cement company, Dalmia Cement, having a manufacturing capacity of more than 33 million ton per annum. Just a little housekeeping before we get started. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into your chat box of Zoom. I will try to bring them during the presentation, or we also have some time of questions during the end of the webinar. Hi, sir. We have seen a tremendous growth of your organization in last couple of years. So would like to know your experience and journey to achieve these milestones, sir.
Before that, I think, sir, it would be good to let everyone know you better as well. People from different industries are there. So would love to hear about yourself as well.
So good morning, all of you. And I'm happy to meet all of you. Wherever possible, if you can just, put on your videos, it will be good enough to know you also. And I am Saurabh Palsania, and I'm a chartered accountant by profession, and I started my career in 1996. Initially, I thought to start my own practice, but those times also we used to say that generally there is a hitch that let us do something for 1 or 2 years and then start on our own. And that is where, we never get back. So I started my career with from a cement company, that is JK Cement Company, and post that had some time in Ambuja and major time in Shree Cement, and now since last 5 years I am in Dalmia Cement. So as other chartered accountants starts, I started from accounts only, and for a period of around say 5 to 7 years I was purely in accounts and taking care of all say financials and balance sheets and maybe accounting also. But after a period of time, when I got experienced in a project, when I got an opportunity to do a project, I was thrilled to see that whatever we envisage on a piece of paper, that can be drawn out, that can be built up on the ground, and that gives a lot of, say, happiness that yes, this is, and a feeling of achievement is that this is what we did. So that, attracted me to be part of the project team also for doing certain projects, and I did almost say 30-35 cement plant projects and almost say 40 to 50 power plants and WHRS across various organizations. And in the last few years, maybe in between 2000 to 2010, I could get an opportunity to do a project as a project head, because a lot of experience I could envisage, I could collect from interacting with the technical teams and say getting into various production meetings. And because cement is not a rocket science, and for any whether it doesn't require to have a lot of knowledge of chemistry or physics or mechanical engineering or civil engineering, but it is almost, because when you are taking care of civil construction, it is just like when we used to take care of construction of our own house, and similarly when you take care of various mechanical or instrument or electrical related activities, it is nothing more than driving a small toy car and repairing it when we used to do it in our childhood. So so almost, it's upon you, because once you are a chartered accountant, you get a habit of analyzing and logically developing certain answers to the questions, and that is enough for enough science that you should know for a cement industry. So from there, I started getting into other technical activities also, and I was a project head for a few plants, and I got into waste heat recovery systems, and then I was a plant head for almost 5 years. And parallelly, I think there are a lot of activities where when you are a technical guy, what motivates you is that when you see that whatever you want, the results you can get by within a maybe period of 1 month or 1 day or maybe 3 months. Suppose if you want to improve the power consumption, if you want to optimize the thermal consumption, you have certain ideas. You have, various guarantee parameters being given by the OEMs, and then you can compare yours, and then see what are the gaps to be filled down, and the results you can see within a day also. If you fill that gap, you can see the results within a day also, and that is where that gives you a lot of energy and enthusiasm that whatever you are doing, you are achieving in a day or 2 or 3 or maybe 3 months. While I'm not saying that is a drawback, but whenever we are into balance sheet finalization, whatever we can see is either not before a quarter or 6 months or a year, when your figures are being published on a balance sheet or in a newspaper, and maybe you are uploaded about. So that was the difference that I felt, and that's why I got into various commercial activities across the organizations for procurement also. And it was very late when I started taking care of procurement. Maybe some of it I started in 2005, and most of it I started in 2015 only. But then, since if you are having a good knowledge about finance and technical also, I think you can do good in procurement also, and that is where everything started. And I think what I was lucky to be part of one of the cement companies where innovation was the DNA, and we used to innovate every day. And now, whenever we are onto the job, if the innovation is not there, or if something new is not there, that day ends with less enthusiasm And when something new is being done, that day ends with a greater enthusiasm. So that gives us energy also, that prepares us for challenges also. And then you start getting answers to almost all the questions once you start innovating. So I mean, this is about me, and I have got one son who is also a chartered accountant and presently working in KPMG, and one daughter, she's pursuing a BBA from Narsee Monjee, Mumbai. And I live with my parents and my family.
Thank you for that introduction. Sumit, shall we start with sir, we prepared a list of questions. I think we got many insights, like what should be the thing that people would want to hear. And Sumit had prepared a few of these. Sumit, over to you on how you'd like to drive this.
So, sir, before starting, just want to know that, as I mentioned, so your organization have seen a tremendous growth in last couple of years. So, would like to know your experiences and journey to achieve these milestones, your views on that and all, before starting the questions.
Yeah. I'll start with this, that everything in an organization starts from, you can say, the promoters.
Okay.
And the way they think and the way they develops the, you can say, the people in the organization and the thought process in the organization. And that is where, in Dalmia, we are very lucky that we are with the promoters like Mr. Puneet Dalmia, and fully supported by Mr. Mahendra Singhi, who is the MD and CEO. And what I learned in last 1.5 years during COVID, we could understand our company more, our promoters more during last 1.5 years. The way, see, we are like, suppose I'm sitting in front of a laptop, so my vision is between this rectangular piece of screen, and I could see maybe the people who are on the screen itself. While what I learned to see, how to see the things, and that is where which gave rises to the vision of any organization. Puneet ji, he had a dream almost, you can say, 30 years back, that my company is 2 million ton and then I want to take it to 20 million ton. And without having, you can say, that much of fund, he just said that, let me declare and the funds will automatically come. And he declared that I will take my company to 20 million ton, and started calling, say, OEMs to place the order. And at that moment of time, he didn't have money in his pocket to even say give the advances against those orders also. Because say almost 18 million ton of ordering, at that time also, it was somewhere, you can say the cost was somewhere around, say, not less than 18,000 crores,
yeah,
including land and all. But what I want to say from this, that once he ordered it also, he got the funds also parallelly, and he started releasing advances also, and that all happened in a period of not more than 120 days. Maybe that later on 1 or 2 sites were, we had to abandon those sites, but ultimately the company grew from 2 million to 12 million ton at that moment of time. So point is that, this is not a very good example. Point is that you have to start thinking beyond. You have to start thinking beyond what you think today. What we think is, we think between, as a employee, we think between house and office only. Either we are thinking about what will I do tomorrow in the office, or what will I do going back to the home. And that is where we take a lot of time to say, bring our ideas to the floor. So what's more important is to at least write down what you want and review it, or at least a week, once in a week. And I think those things which we'll read will take you to those heights. It will force you to achieve it, work for it, and achieve it. And that is what our promoters do. Today they have declared that we'll be 130 million by 2030, and today we are 30 million only. And for that matter, we didn't have any land anywhere. We didn't have any very clear-cut roadmap 6 months back, and today we have a clear-cut roadmap of 60 million ton. So only thing is that you have to put forward your ideas and have a passion to follow it and to achieve it. And that is why Dalmia is here today.
Wonderfully said, sir.
Yes, sir. So, I just want to ask that we have seen a good collaboration of procurement and IT in last couple of years. So what are the challenges still the companies are facing in these type of collaborations?
See, I don't find that there are any challenges. What I can see is that you have to visualize what you want to see out of it. What type of support you require from digitization, IT, or from your own work. Like suppose if you can just, one can just write down that he needs this output every day in the morning on his table. To plan his day, to take right decisions, to concentrate on only good, highly important things which can give them higher returns. If keeping these three things in mind, if we write down these three things and start expecting from his team or from people like partners like Procol, and gives a call that, Gaurav, I want this tomorrow on my table. I don't think Gaurav will say no to it. And I don't think that any of one of the team members will say that this is not possible, because there is nothing which is impossible once it is collected into the hard disk.
Yes.
So now, I mean, I don't find, whatever I thought in last 2 years, whatever I thought that I should have a dashboard which gives me a picture of what is outstanding as of date. Or I was just in the morning itself, I was talking to one of my colleagues who is taking care of auctions, and I asked him that, what is that you want to make this platform more effective? He told me something that I want that at least there is a reduction of 15% from start auction rate to close auction rate. And how to achieve it? I said that you need to put value to it. Either you are comparing it with the last purchase price, or you are comparing it with only the start auction rate. So he said that I mean, ultimate gain is when it is below LPP. Otherwise, it may be, a number, but cannot be reflected in the books of accounts. So I asked him that just come out with within 15 minutes, what are those particular items where you are not getting rates below LPP. If you can just share with me 10 items. He shared within 10-15 minutes. And then I just guided him that, okay, in next 10 days, if these items are there, you just analyze what has happened in past 20 auction against these items, and tell me that what more can be done. So when we started, after a minute only, I got a WhatsApp that there is a way out, and I'll share it with you by evening. There are 3 ways by which we can achieve the savings. So only what I was telling is that analysis of whatever data we have, if churning it out and analyzing it can also be done like a mixie does to a fresh Mosami, then I mean, I think that can be a big source of, say, boosting the sales and taking the correct, or boosting the revenue and taking the correct actions timely. So, because this, saying this, that you need to analyze, I think that somebody has to say it, and then the analysis happens, and then the data, then the corrective actions are taken. But if it is there in the morning itself, that yesterday's auctions or yesterday's transactions have these exceptions, I think that is much more enough to take a right time. And ultimately, when I say, I mean, that should be only major 3 exceptions. Otherwise, if you create a list of 20 exceptions, then again it will go into the dump. So that is what I feel, that there are no challenges between digitization and or procurement. Only thing is that you have to dream, and once you dream, you will get it.
The faster the feedback loop, the better it seems from this.
Yes.
Totally agree with that. So, sir, what do you think about the source to contract? What are your views, and what are the challenges companies are facing in regard to this process?
See, if I start from the bottom, the biggest challenge is the item code clarity. And that is where even best systems are unable to give the right results. Unless you have a unique number, unique item code, which clearly defines the history, or clearly defines the picture or identity of that particular item, you will not be able to take out those benefits which generally any of the source to payment system gives. One is this. Another is that whatever, say, customization can be done, that it should not be a say designed package, it should be a customized package, because industry to industry, various transactions, various practices differ. So it should become like this, like I mean, suppose whatever functions are available in a mobile, everybody uses it, somebody uses some functions more, some functions less. Similarly, procurement to pay package should also be such that one can utilize it, one can make it customized to his own needs, with all security or all, say, confidentiality is maintained within it. But like, it should be a selection process. Whatever you want to select, you can select. Whatever you want to, say, it should ultimately end up with a purchase order and a double accounting system. So somehow that is what we have to concentrate more on, the inputs and outputs, and the, say, formation or process within should have all those security options, which means where like the data sharing and everything should be there, which protects the data sharing and all. But it should be, one should be able to customize it. One is that. Second is that generally in services, presently I will say that various platforms which have been developed are not that much successful. So that needs to be further. We need to see the breakthrough in procurement to pay for services also. And lastly, what is important is that if it is a window-based MIS system, where there is a window, we select what we want to see, with a combination of 2-3 options, we can get the data. Like earlier on, we used to write write something to get the output. Like in case of Oracle or in case of other, say we need to write a language, SQL language, and to get output. Now it's window-based. Now when it is window-based should also be that, in such a way that we can select that what we want and we can get it. So sourcing to procurement is sourcing to pay is a very important tool, and every industry needs to adopt it for the convenience of buyers, convenience of users, and convenience of, you say, visibility across the procurement process.
Yes.
One thing I'd like to ask, sir, in the light of given situation in the current markets where supply chain shocks, logistics prices are up the roof, there are import restrictions and a bunch of things like that. What are some of the specific areas or areas of innovation that you have identified in the next quarter or so that this needs to be fixed in, and this can be a unique solution for that?
So, to start with, I'll say, Suman, that we are all, procurement guys. And we all know that in a cost of 90%, you can say cost of equipment and cost of logistics. Somewhere it is almost same, or somewhere it may be vice versa, that cost of procurement is higher and cost of transportation is less. And somewhere it may be ultimately, on an average, you will find that for 30 to 40% may be cost of logistics only, 30 to 40%. And as we switch over to raw materials, it will be vice versa. 70% will be cost of logistics and 30% may be cost of procurement. So we are doing a lot of innovations, especially on logistic part. Logistic part, we are ensuring that with the new innovations of electric trucks, CNG, we are trying to introduce that CNG trucks and electric trucks. And in next quarter, we are hopeful that at least we'll be replacing 20% of our overall requirement by CNG and electric trucks. Overall requirement means overall requirement of trucks, including inbound and outbound. And other way around is to ensure that we are also able to scale up 20% of logistics through return logistics. When I say return logistics, means any trucks are to be kept always on load, whether they are coming into plant or going outside plant. So that will also optimize our cost. And then using biodiesel instead of diesel. So we are targeting that we can replace diesel by at least 50% of biodiesel. So we are almost 25. We have almost replaced 60% in our mining equipments, and targeting it 70-75% by next month end. And maybe next quarter, we will be utilizing it everywhere and targeting almost, say, 50% of biodiesel utilization. So that will bring down to a great extent, and then also to buy our own trucks, dumpers, and bulkers. That will further optimize our cost of operations, logistic operations, supply chain operations. And in case of procurement, we are now very much, putting more knowledge base to auctions, increasing the vendor base, and also trying to give more space to MSMEs so that we can extend a support to them like what government is trying to support. And similarly, giving them a knowledge base also so that they can replace OEMs also wherever possible. So these are the few areas where we are working, and I'm hopeful that by this calendar year end, we'll be at least halfway of it.
That's great. Yeah. Another thing I think we picked up from your last answer that while digitization is happening or spend is getting more digitally run, how easy it is to today find out anomalies in spend, because I'm pretty confident that about these greater initiatives that are happening. But what about what is the level of focus that we can provide to the smaller items that are across the value chain but are not visible very easily? Like, I remember I put on the Procall app on your phone to make sure that you get that visibility. But how do you really get into the details of like what is happening on ground to figure out, Acha, this is the opportunity that we can capture on?
So what I'll say is that generally what we are doing is that on a monthly basis, we are looking into the spend. What is the total spend? And on a bi-monthly or quarterly basis, we generally see what is the value of spend in category A, B, and C. And whenever I do the LPP analysis, there is a ClickView report that comes to me on weekly basis that what is the type of saving against LPP you are getting. What I have tried to do in past also, and what I foresee is that the value of item which we put in C category is generally overall spend is high, value may be less. We have targeted that such items are to be more into a ARC type business, where we spend lesser time on it, and we do a ARC, annual rate contracts, and that will give a volume base also. To the suppliers, that you are getting such a high value of contract. Because when you do a ARC, definitely you have to disclose a value of item that you will be procuring on a yearly basis. So one is that. Another, and by that you can get a good say discounts on volumetric basis. Second way was this auction platform. Because say negotiating for items, maybe you are happy that you have got a discount of 5 rupees. Overall spend, it will not matter, because it may be a low value item. But when you are not able to know, because such low value items are being procured, or you can say developed or manufactured by many people across India. And that may range. Suppose whenever you are talking about the electrode, I mean, suppose it is particular type of electrode, still there is a lot of variation in the rate of that electrode across various dealers, across various OEMs. But then when you put into auctions, you can get a right result also. And when you put across it for an ARC, definitely you get a good answer also. So on lower spend, it is more important that how you are dealing with them, how you are say finding out suppliers for them. Are you sticking to the same supplier base for years together, or you are switching into different suppliers? Because switching into suppliers also gives you a lot of say opportunities for the various options available for that item, and also cost variances across various suppliers.
So post-pandemic supply-based rationalization has gained management attention. What's your opinion on this?
I think that's very true. And say during COVID, what we did was to meet all our vendors, all our suppliers and partners on a screen only, and to know about their wellness. And we interacted with almost say 100, 150, 300 suppliers on a single screen, and we could know more about each other. And during that period, we could understand that we thought that this particular organization is only supplying this item. But during that interactions, we could know that they are doing much more. And within those 300 suppliers only, we could increase the vendor base because of knowing more about each other, and because of, you can say, close interactions during that, and more interactions on the wellness and support that we could extend to each other. I think that was an informal platform, but we could know more about them. Secondly, during that pandemic, what happened was there were certain items which fall scarce because of non-operations, and that also gave a forced opportunity to us to means to explore new vendors. And what was important was, because what helped us was that everybody was digital during that period. Even the small shopkeeper was also on a digital platform, and that helped us to connect with many people, many such say small or big organizations. And since we were also fully on the digital platform, so connectivity with, we could increase a good vendor base also, and we could understand the importance of increasing the vendor base also. Like if you talk about availability of packing material, packing bags, it was because of it is mainly a labor intensive industry, and because of the lesser availability of labor, there was a shortage of packing bags. And I think yes, we had to say burn our fingers, but ultimately we could increase our vendor base also, and the vendors were able to innovate also to see how they can make their industry less labor intensive. And thus, I mean, it was a good time of innovation and experimenting.
That's a great answer, sir. We got a lot of questions from our attendees. So there's one question that inspired me, that sustainability is one of the most important pillar of procurement. So what is the future according to you?
I think even we covered this in the last session, where people from the cement industry were all in for looking at this.
Yeah,
I think this is the word sustainability, I don't know, it itself inspires me. And I have been, I am always after it. And whenever I am taking off any area, whether it was, you can say, production, or it was manufacturing, or it was finance, or it was procurement. See, ultimately, any company or any organization looks for sustainability, and sustainability will come through cost optimization, because money is what makes you sustainable. Another is to innovate various other ways which keeps you on the forefront of the era, I could say, into which you are getting into. So you'll have to be always in a forefront, or to do that new thing which is the new future. Like if somebody doesn't operate his bank accounts through online, maybe that he will not be able to operate after 5 years. Maybe that banks are not available on the ground. They may also be operating online only, as we are operating during this COVID period, working from home. That may be one of the time in next 5 years we can see that there is no building for a bank to operate. Similarly, for procurement, I will say sustainability lies in 3-4 things. One is to see, we have taken that electrode will, or we can say a bearing will be always like this. It will be manufactured always like this.
Yes.
It will be manufactured out of this particular this metallurgy only. But we have seen in the past, in last 1 year, that steel is being replaced now slowly by fiber-based material, and that is what we are also using now in our cement industry. Also, we are using that steel into various flooring purposes and all, and I don't see that there is any challenge into it.
That's very new, sir. Would love to learn more about this.
And until the weight of 50 ton or 70 ton is being more than that is being used on that road, there is no challenge. So whenever, if you are doing a PCC in your in your office or building, or you are constructing a floor into your building which doesn't take a load of more than 50 tons, point load. I'm talking about point load. Distributed load can be anything, but point load not then 50 tons, you can use those fiber bars. And it is manufactured in India also. So that is what I'm saying, that you have to, for sustainability in procurement, you have to redesign the metallurgy. You have to see that whatever standard materials you are using, whether it can be redesigned in terms of metallurgy or in terms of, say, various, like for example, cars. Now, earlier on, more steel was used in cars. Now it is not used. So that has made some cars to maybe lighter also, and maybe cheaper also. So similarly, what is not a risk to you, that can be done, that can be explored. You have to work, procurement people have to work with the technical teams and to read, and with the suppliers to redesign their items. First is this. Second is to definitely to go around and to start exploring the new vendors, to start exploring vendors across the globe, not only in India. And you will find that there are a number of items which are much more cheaper in other Asian countries than in India. And maybe that there are certain items which you are buying from outside, and you can get those items much cheaper in India. Thirdly, that you need to also see in procurement that what is not used. I have found in my last 6 days during this COVID period only, what is not used either could be sold out or could be made usable for others. I'm talking about the non-moving inventories that we are carrying across in our group. And I think every cement company which has a turnover of 10,000 crores or more might be carrying an inventory of not less than 200 crores, which is non-moving, but it is idle. Now you have to create a culture in the organization where each people in the organization are themselves ready to utilize the old inventories, or ready to sacrifice those old inventories for others, or ready to innovate with those inventories. So that is where, again, sustainability will always matter, because now with this fast changing world, maybe whatever you are buying today is obsolete in a year or so only, or maybe maximum 2 years. So that is where we need to work upon. And then, say, if I talk about raw materials, you dream about it, what you want, and you will get it. In raw materials, there is a vast scope. In any industry, if you get into the procurement of raw materials and find out the details, you will find that there are many things that you can ask the government to help you. Many things you can ask the generator of that particular raw material to help you. And you will have to think that I don't want to use what is natural. I want to use what is waste. And you can replace your raw materials by that waste material based on the specification that you require or chemical composition that you require. And we have done it, that we have replaced at least 10% of such raw materials by waste material of the industries. And that is where you can look into for sustainability. And as I talked about that logistic cost is one of the areas where cost of raw materials can be brought down immensely with a vast margin you can work upon. So there are also a lot of innovations you can do in logistics. There are walking floor trucks which can be used, which self unloads it. There are, say, CNG, biodiesel, electric vehicles, return logistic model, and then the way you want to get your trucks customized, it can be customized. It can carry 30 ton to 100 ton of load, and all that is possible. So point is that everyday innovation in procurement is also very important for us. And for this procurement fraternity, I will say that at least start devoting 10% of your time in a day on innovation, maybe on your own, maybe sitting together with a team. If you can discuss it for the challenges with, all the, you can say, consultants are within your team only. If you are sitting at one place with a team of 10 persons, if 10 of them sit for half an hour a day and talks about particular agenda, that this is where the challenge is and I want to bring down the cost, you have got other 9 people giving you the consultancy.
Yes. Great. So moving to the last question, sir, just want to know your views and opinions about the role of Procol in your sourcing needs. Your words about that.
So, I will say, since 2016, July or August, we were in search of, we wanted to make our, platform, a digital platform of procurement into other than SAP. And I think with a team of 4 or 5 members, we even went across various cities, including Delhi, across cities, maybe Ahmedabad, maybe Chennai, Kolkata, Baroda, and we were in search of a good partner. And I think we already scrutinized various big 4, big 5 names, and they were also, we were offered good, you can say, digitalization platform. But as I said, that the challenge there was customization. And after a good search, in 2018, we got a partner, and we started working with that partner for sourcing to pay. We started with, initially we started with auctions only to experiment that platform. And since we observed, whatever platform of auction is, it's obvious that you will get good results than what you do offline. And we started with that partner, and he is also serving us today also. But you can say that you wanted to do a lot of innovations and on this platform of auctions, because 1 way or 2 way or 3 ways of doing an auction consistently will not give you results forever. You will have to change your tactics, like a spin bowler does within his 6 balls, or maybe pace bowler does. You may be saying in T20s, every ball is with deviation, and that is why he can get the good results. Similarly, every auction needs to be fully studied. You have to set the field accordingly and get a better results. And that is what we were looking for. And thus we met Procol, and I think I'll say that the way a Procol team is helping in giving us 6 different deliveries in an hour, and that is helping us a lot to learn ourselves. And the more important is that, say, knowing that what else you want, that is more important. And that is what this team of Gaurav is doing, and they are always on the ask, what else you want. And that is where we could change our strategies. And with the infusion of 1 or 2 new members in our team also, we foresee that in next 30 days, we will have number of questions to Procol also, and number of jobs. We will be after them to get more out of it for us. And I think you might be feeling the fever since last 1 week, that people might be approaching you that this is what we want. And yes, in last 1 week, we have got good results, again, good results. So Procol platform is helping us by not making it a monotonous practice, by not making it a monotonous platform कि आपको मशीन दे दी एक और आप उसमें इनपुट दो, रिजल्ट लो, यही इनपुट चाहिए और यही रिजल्ट मिलेगा. सो वो नहीं हो रहा है. उसके अलावा I mean, we are getting new things to do, and that is what we are happy with the team.
Thank you, sir, for your so much informative answers. Now over to Gaurav about the Procol and all-in-one procurement software solutions. Gaurav.
Thank you, Sumit. Palsani sir, it has been a pleasure hearing you and learning more about your thoughts. There are way many more questions in the pipe, which we believe inherently, I think one of the core differentiators since we began was the curiosity and the hunger DNA that Procol team has to think about what is not possible, what is possible, to question the unquestioned. And I think that is what sets us apart from everyone else, primarily. Apart from technology and everything that we have built over the past, our product differentiation, our ability to question the fundamental reality that is in place today and how we can make it better, that I think industry experts who have been doing this for past 30, 40 years were not able to foresee, and so on. So thank you, sir. I really appreciate you taking the time out for us on a Saturday morning and giving us this session. I will just give a brief overview to the audience, a little bit about Procol and what we do. Procol started as a company about 3 years ago now, and we have been able to serve about 40 to 50 customers and accelerating their digital procurement journey. We have built many technologies where we are helping different companies with. And Saurabh sir at Dalmia has been taking the charge of one such efforts. With Dalmia also, we are going in deeper, trying to identify more such value propositions where we can help. And similarly, across industries, we work today in industrial manufacturing, CPG, FMCG, retail. Procol is working with few of the largest companies in the country, and very soon with international companies as well. We have been able to deliver what most decade-old companies couldn't, which is why I think our USP lies in. So if a company is open to collaborate with us, we work with them very, very closely to identify how we can help. And that stands us apart. We are not an MNC today, which is what most of these large companies find benefit with. We are flexible enough to move with you, to work with you, to solve the problems of procurement and the core challenges that we believe will change the future in the next 5 to 10 years and beyond. So we are building it all today, and that's the mission. We are starting with procurement, and very soon we are getting into supply chain, financing, and other core areas of backend of any company as well. So this is just the beginning for us, and we look forward to partnering with more such companies to build on these products with them and deliver the best solutions that technologically possible in the world. Our core company DNA comes from procurement and technology backgrounds, and we understand these very well. And having worked at few of the largest technology companies in the world, we believe we are building the core backend technology infrastructure for many of these companies. That is the idea with Procol. I thank you everyone for attending this session. Being cognizant of time, I will let everyone have a great weekend, and please feel free to share your feedback for the session and upcoming ones. Thank you, Palsania sir, again for coming in. And
thank you, Gaurav. And I just wish that you become a company like Apple, and not I mean maybe that you have to see how Apple could be better than Nokia, and what made them better than Nokia, and that is what I give you my best wishes to be a company like Apple.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Have a good
Thank
weekend.
you. Thanks all of you. Thank you. Thanks, Sumit.
Thank you, sir. Thanks, everyone. Thank you. We'll see you.